Hello, everyone. Welcome back to The Emperor's Concubine, the final chapter. I hope that you have enjoyed this story. Thank you all so much for your support in my storytelling channel. I appreciate you so much.
This town is quiet when it's late here. This town is quiet when the night is getting close. I'm outside, gonna stay here. I'm outside until you tell me to stop. I'm being so dramatic. I'm always being so dramatic. This town is quiet when it's late here. This town is quiet.
A thick fog floated through the hills as the morning sun began to peek its way through the horizon. Lionel wrapped the thick armor over his body and adjusted the sword on his side as he walked down the stairs and out of the entrance to where a horse was waiting for him. Easton stood with his armor in place as Lionel got on the horse. Emperor, the task is ready and waiting for you. May I ask that you rethink this? He asked. Lionel nodded and smiled. I appreciate your concern, Easton. My heart is heavy itself with the many things that will go wrong, but I trust that you will handle it well. Easton lowered his gaze. I will protect you as needed, Emperor. It is only when my heart is no longer beating that concern should be etched in your mind. Lionel smiled and nodded his head. Then worries shall be released. He kicked the horse, and the two of them began galloping toward the abandoned barn. As he turned and looked back at the palace, he saw Genevieve's figure standing by the window. When he had left her, she had cried and gave him a final kiss. There were many things that would go wrong, and although he trusted Easton, he also knew that this would leave him very much dead. As his horse crossed the bridge, he heard the hissing of the arrow and turned just in time to duck as it flew across the land. Easton shouted out his name as a flock of arrows came hissing toward them both. Emperor! Easton shouted. The two men got off the horses and dug to the ground, but not before Easton took 3 arrows into his left shoulder. The blood that splattered from his lips stained Lionel's face as he caught his captain of the guard. That was when he heard the sound of feet running and saw the army that was marching toward him with River leading them, her white hair blowing in the wind, her eyes glowing green. A dialect of a chant was singing from her lips, and he knew right away the men were under a spell. River! Lionel shouted as he dragged Easton's body back toward the wooden shed. Emperor, Easton said through a mouthful of blood, I have failed you. Don't talk. Save your energy, he whispered. Lionel watched as Easton removed his sword, and with one swing, he cut the arrows that extended out of his body and got on his knees. Emperor, do not fear. I will die protecting you. Tears entered Lionel's eyes as he took the young man's hand. Easton, you and I have seen the bloody battles together, and let this be the one battle that history will rewrite our names in. Smiling through bloody teeth, Easton replied, Victory will be ours. As they both emerged from the wooden shed, River stood before them with a smile on her face. Their plan had long been demolished, and now everything was at the hands of River. Did you honestly think you would win, Emperor? River asked. Centuries of blood have shed on this land. Is it not enough for you, River? She cocked her head and smiled. You and the hands of your ancestors have left my people struggling long enough. I have waited too long, and today, this moment, is my time to take back what is rightfully mine. Lionel stepped forward. What is yours? Are you mad? The throne will never be yours. Laughing, River replied, I do not want the throne. I want blood. Yours, along with anyone who can continue your lineage. Your family line will become extinct today. History shall wipe you clean, and no mention of your family will ever be uttered. Do you honestly think that you can do this alone? Smiling, River whispered, I am not alone. and emerged Genevieve, who walked forward with Paloma in her hands. Lionel's heart sunk as Genevieve tossed the head of Seamus toward his feet. "You are now fighting a war you cannot win," River warned. "Only when I take your head will it satisfy this hunger of mine." "Emperor," Paloma begged, "do not attempt to fight. She has your entire army under a spell." "Your empress is brilliant, Emperor. No wonder your heart holds her so deeply. You know, when I first began thinking of this plan, I never once thought she would have a chance to delay it. But I underestimated her, and look where it brought me. I was left fending for another plan to put into place when she kicked my feet from underneath me." "Let her go. She's done nothing wrong," Lionel said. Laughing, Genevieve replied, "She holds the key to your heart. Only when I have you weakened can River accomplish her goal." "And what goal is that?" "My blood." "Did River tell you exactly what she did to my great-grandfather?" Lionel asked. He watched as Genevieve's eyes fluttered with disbelief. Did she weave a tale of forbidden love and how she was a victim? "Silence!" River yelled. "Never!" Lionel yelled back. "If I am to be silenced for telling the truth, then it means the lies you speak of need to be heard." Genevieve turned to River, and her eyes shimmered with tears. "What does he mean?" "Nothing," River whispered. "He means nothing." "Tell her the truth," Paloma yelled. "For the life you seek to render silent, you should have the courage to tell her the truth." Genevieve turned Paloma around and grabbed her shoulders. "Speak." "Lies. All of it has been lies, Lady Genevieve. The Emperor's great-grandfather did nothing but loved River, and it was her hand who saw another's company. His own brother. It was her who led to the demise of the two brothers' bloodshed. What happened centuries ago, the bloodshed that occurred, it was not your people, but the people of the late Emperor's brother. It was caused by your mother's unfaithful heart." Genevieve's eyes filled with tears as she gasped slowly and let Paloma go. She turned around to River. "Is that true?" "Do not believe such lies," River cried. "Is it true?" she yelled. River remained silent and looked away with her eyes closed, and a single tear dropped from her eye. "You lied to me my whole life. How could you?" River opened her eyes and looked at her. "They betrayed me." "You betrayed your own husband. I had to share my husband. What right did that give me? I was none other than a lowly concubine whose heart and soul would never be buried like a noble woman. I was nothing. Yet I had no right to love who I wanted. All I wanted was to spend my life with the man who had my heart. And is that so wrong?" River sobbed and fell to the ground. "I have loved so hard all of my life, and all I wanted was peace, to be able to show it to the world. I wanted to proclaim him as my lover." "You were the cause of the end of his reign in bloodshed, yet you claim betrayal, when it was your hands that caused the end of everything," Lionel whispered. "How could you do this?" Genevieve whispered as tears dropped from her cheeks. "You lied to me every day of every moment until I wanted to fulfill this duty of yours, the immortal blood in me. It is not even from you, is it?" River looked up and began laughing. "Did you honestly believe I trust you completely with my heart? Each time I remade you, you failed me. I own you, Genevieve. Only when I stop breathing can you find peace." Genevieve nodded as tears slipped down her cheeks, and then she turned to Paloma with a weak smile. I have never wanted to take another woman's man. I only wanted someone to call my own. And then she turned to Lionel. Your Majesty, your kindness will be remembered. Always. You will not end it this way for me, River cried as she stood up. I will get my revenge with or without you. Genevieve smiled, and then let out a blood-curdling scream as she grabbed the hands of Paloma, and the two joined their palms together. From Genevieve's lips came a chant that made the thunder roar, and rain began falling as the two women began twirling. As River pulled out her dagger, Lionel and Easton ran toward them, sword steady in hands. Genevieve pushed Paloma toward the dagger that River held, and as lightning struck from above, the illusion disappeared, and River's dagger entered Genevieve's body as she pulled out the sword from her side to take River's life. The clash left Paloma shaking as Lionel reached her and pulled her to the side, as mother and daughter fell to the ground, a pool of blood between them, as the spell broke and the army fell to their knees, gasping. Genevieve? River asked in shock. How? Smiling, Genevieve whispered, You are not the only one who knows magic. I have listened and learned from you in secret, one day knowing I would need this. All this anger, let it go, River. It is too exhausting. River's eyes filled with tears. How can you do this to me? Every lifetime I have failed, and it has been because of you. Genevieve reached up a bloody hand and touched her cheek. Blood does not solve the pain of the heart, River. Your own hand led to the fall of your death, and others have paid enough. This time when I close my eyes, I would do so knowing you cannot retrieve any part of me to rebuild me again. River smiled. You have not mastered me. I am immortal, dear girl. Nothing can kill me. Nothing, except the blood of your own heir. River's eyes widened. You have lied to me that I am not your daughter. But I am. Am I not? You took parts of yourself to rebuild me, forcing me to forget that I was once inside you, and that I heard your heartbeat first. You took away my memories each time you had me come back to life because you knew I would hate you for what you did. Mother, enough. Today, this moment, I take your curse with me, and I bury it in the earth where it belongs. No more hate, no more blood, no more wars. River's eyes filled with tears. Genevieve, my darling daughter, why must you do this to me? Because I have seen enough of bloodshed, and the only way to end this was to make sure you and I end up together, to pay for the crimes you have done. She pulled the sword out from River's body, and the woman let out a painful cry. And then she reached out and grabbed a hold of River's hand and pierced the sword through their entwined hands together. I forgive you, Mother. And then she turned to Paloma and whispered, Take care of the Emperor, Empress.
기다렸어요. 오랜 시간을 밤이 지나고 빛이 쏟아지길 삶이라는 건 답이 없었고 하루하루가 버거웠던 날들 눈물 짓던 시간 속에
Lionel found Paloma standing outside by the garden with the moon high above the sky. He walked out and placed a cloak around her shoulders, pulling her back into his arms. The wind blew lightly, and a jasmine scent entered his nostrils. What keeps you from bed, my empress? He asked. She smiled and touched his hand. Forbidden thoughts that should be forgiven? Let it go, he whispered. Time has passed enough to keep those moments from the heart. She turned around and gazed at him. Your Majesty, when my brother sacrificed his life for Lady Genevieve's plan, I knew that I would be alone in this world yet again. When the hour strikes upon the remembrance of her death, I am reminded that she did all she could to stop a war from happening and to return me to your arms. These are thoughts that dwell inside of me. He brushed her hair back and leaned in to kiss her cheek. I do not want your mind to be soiled by these events. Let us repair each other with the love between us and begin anew. She reached out and held him. When the time comes for me to return, will you weep my absence? I will go with you, whether in death or life. We will never be parted. He tilted her lips to his and gave her a kiss. This lifetime, you and none other will occupy my heart. Thank you so much for tuning in to The Emperor's Concubine. I certainly hope that you enjoy the story. I will see you in the next episode.
This town is quiet when it's late, yeah. This town is quiet when the night is getting close. I'm outside, gonna stay here. I'm outside until you tell me to stop. I'm being so dramatic. I'm always being so dramatic.